Hi everybody, it's Kevin.
And Ralph, that's me, in front of the camera this time. Kevin's filming.
I am filming, and I'm filming because our dear friends and neighbors invited us to their big annual 4th of July shindig, which is tomorrow, and it is hot up here. And
it's about to get hotter.
It is, and we're happy to bring some things, and one thing that people always request is Ralph's salsa. And so Ralph is making up a big batch of it, and it looks like you're starting with your jalapenos.
Yes, we start with jalapenos on a slow roast going on these hot.
How long have these been on the stove?
These have been on this iron skillet for about an hour and a half on a low heat.
Okay.
And so you see that they're getting very charred and burned.
Oh, yeah.
That's what you want. It's a nice, thorough cooking of these jalapenos,
Okay.
and then the burn is good. Like I said, some people like to leave it on, some take it off. We'll go through all that later. What we're going to do now is this is the first step of making homemade salsa based on my mom's recipe, and we're going to put them in the bowl, let them cool, and then we'll come back with the next few steps that are required in salsa preparation, making 4th of July even hotter. It's probably over 100 degrees in this kitchen right now, and about 90 some outside here at the cottage kitchen.
We're sweating to the oldies in here, but it's all good. It's 4th of July, and we're making salsa.
We'll be back in just a minute. Okay, the next step of making salsa, homemade salsa, is the peppers have cooled, so now we're going to take off the seeds off. Well, here, first of all, let me tell you, we're using 6 jalapeno peppers that we've slow roasted, and we're taking the seeds out of about half of them so that the salsa isn't too hot.
So that's where the heat's in the seeds, right, Ralph?
Yes, and for those who have a sensitivity to seeds or nuts, the seeds will be blended pretty thoroughly. And as I mentioned, we're using a blender, so I'm putting them directly into the blender. And I also mentioned that we're keeping the skins on. So this is, like I said, about 6 slow roasted jalapeno peppers, leaving the skins on, which is part of what makes this salsa special, the slow roasted flavor. And de-seeding, if that's a word, about half of them. Okay, I took the seeds out of half of the jalapenos, and I'm leaving the seeds in half, and we're putting them directly into the blender with the seeds. As
Seeds
I said,
and all.
Seeds and all to add that hotness.
So these half will give the heat.
Yes, the heat will come from here, and my mom used to say that we're mild Mexicans because a lot of my family doesn't really like super hot. My dad did, of course, but we're mild Mexicans, and it's funny, some of the non-Mexican members of my family, my brothers-in-law and sisters-in-law, really love the heat more than my immediate Mexican family. So once again, we just cut off the tops of the jalapeno peppers, and we de-seeded half of them and put them right directly into the blender. And we'll be right back with the rest of the steps of this homemade salsa. Okay, we've got the peppers in the blender. Now we're going to add tomatoes from a can, which is what my mom did. You can also use a food processor, but this is the easy breezy way to make homemade salsa. This actually has low sodium, so we're going to add a little salt as well. But first, let's see, we're going to put, I usually use about 2 tablespoons of salt, usually a larger blender, so I'm going to use 2, but it is to taste. This is sea salt, by the way. So I used about 2.5 of those tablespoons. Not a great perfect measurement, but it'll do. And as I said, it's to taste. We also have our cumin here. We have about 2 teaspoons of cumin, and you can also increase or decrease that depending on how much you like your flavor of cumin. I think it gives it a special flavor. We've got half of a clove of garlic we're putting directly in there. We didn't.
It's actually many cloves of garlic.
Oh,
it's half of a whole ball.
Oh, thank you. Yes, it's a good thing Kevin's here. Okay, so now we're putting, this is a whole Spanish onion, a white onion. We'll smash it down in there to see if we can get it all in.
May have to do it in stages.
Yeah. Okay, we'll make sure that we leave room. And then we're going to add fresh cilantro from the
right out of the herb garden here.
We call it our back porch herb garden, and that's about all it's going to fit in there right now.
Yeah, boy. Okay.
It's tight.
This will be interesting, folks. I'm standing back.
It'll start to make room as it blends. See how they're going down?
Yeah.
All the ingredients are kind of being pulled down into the blades and
into the vortex.
Into the delicious salsa vortex. And I put it at different speeds just to make sure that everything gets blended. I don't know why it splashed, but maybe I do. Maybe I turned it. All right, we're going to make room for the rest of the onions and push down the remaining cilantro. And
it smells great.
Thank you. And I forgot to mention, I also add a touch of sugar to balance the acidity of the
tomatoes.
And also not so much that you taste it, but just enough that that it's noticeable in terms of the tomato acidity. So I would, like I said, I do a lot of this just from watching my mom and doing it by visual as opposed to actually measuring. So the sugar, I would say maybe half a teaspoon for this size of a blender. And let's see, we're going to add the rest of the onions, or as much as we can fit, and then we're going to continue to blend it. And we are making this a day in advance because I find that salsa, as well as other foods, are really good after they've sat for a day or so. And one last thing I wanted to mention, when we were doing the hot peppers, the jalapenos, be sure wash your hands immediately and don't touch your eyes, your face, or any
lips,
anything that you may not feel it on your skin, but you'll feel it if you get it into any other parts of your body. See, it's all fitting in there. It's working out real nicely. We're going to, you notice I don't blend it too long. It's
that way it's a little thick.
Yeah, it also, it's a personal preference too. It's the flexibility of making a salsa. You can blend it longer if you want it to be a little more liquidy, or if you want it more choppy, you can also not blend it as much. The final taste test, of course, is getting a good taco chip or a corn tortilla chip and testing it out to see if it came out okay. So we're going to do that in a minute, and we'll be right back.
We're back. We're making salsa. We're listening to Herb Albert and the Tijuana Brass. And now is the moment of truth.
All right, so we've got some decent chips, and
yeah, nice sturdy chips.
Good corn chips, and we're going to always taste test and see what it needs, or if it needs modifying or anything like that. You can taste the cilantro, that's good.
The cumin.
I think I can taste the cumin pretty well. I personally like more cumin. I'm going to add a little more cumin, and I'm going to add a little more sugar. And as I said, you at home can modify this. You listening, you watching, do whatever you want to make it your own. But this is the basic recipe, and I think you'll have a lot of fun making it.
Look at all that salsa.
It's easy, and it takes a blender, a few cans of tomato, and the only thing that really takes time, it makes it so special, is the slow roasting of the peppers, which is easy to do, the jalapenos. So have fun making it and enjoy some delicious salsa from Mama Valdez's recipe, modified by Ralph.